No. No. Hi friends, welcome to my channel. I'm so excited to have you here today. Welcome to Spooky Saturday episode 4. If you haven't seen any of my other Spooky Saturday episodes, they will be linked for you. Please go check them out. You don't have to watch them in any particular order, but this is my favorite series that I have done so far. It is fun, it is scary. Literally, like, everybody I know loves to watch spooky things, and me included. However, today's a little different. Normally, if you've watched my other videos, you know that I have Travis on FaceTime with me while I'm reading these stories because I get a little creeped out, but I'm not going to be doing that today because I'm doing it while he's at work. How are we feeling about the dark hair? I did this color and cut at home. I was going to upload a video on that, and I filmed everything, but when I was editing the video, I just was like, ugh, like, I don't know. I am kind of in this transition phase right now where I'm only going to be uploading and editing things that actually bring me joy and make me happy. And I'm not going to lie, like, doing makeup videos is like, I couldn't be more bored. I love makeup. I love putting it on. I love experimenting with it. I love telling you guys what I use, but just like coming up with content for that and that kind of a thing just really lately has just not brought me joy, and so I'm no longer doing things like that. So until further notice, Spooky Saturday videos are all I'm going to be doing right now. I want to be able to upload once more a week, but until I can find something that brings me joy to film and upload for you like Spooky Saturday does, I'm not going to be doing that. Okay, so sorry. If you guys have an idea, something you would like me to do, let me know. I'm all ears. I'm finding my niche here on YouTube, and I think Spooky Saturdays is a great, it's bringing me so much joy. It's making me so happy. How many times can I say that? I hope you can tell how much joy that this brings me, because it just makes me so happy. So I'm only doing things that make me happy, and you should too. Interrupting the video. So first of all, thank you for watching. Second of all, do not forget to like and subscribe, because as you all know, I am still a very small channel, and every subscription, every like matters, helps me get boosted on the YouTube platform. YouTube's algorithm is trash, so help me please. These stories I'm about to read from right now are ones that will keep you up all night. And in case you guys didn't know, I have, so this is a microphone that I've been using. However, I got an extension cord for it. That way, ASMR. It's attached right now to a Kleenex box because I'm fucking poor and I have nothing else to put it on. I have nothing else to put it on. So, by the way, I have no idea how this is gonna sound until I go to edit it later, and I have no idea how much better you can hear everything. So like if I scratch my leg or something and you hear like it's because the microphone is like right here now. So I'm gonna put this down, but that probably sounds annoying. ASMR. I think that's so funny to me. The scariest thing I've had happen while camping. So I live in Eastern Oregon and my mom lives in Western Oregon. I went to visit her for the summer and she's very outdoorsy, so we decided to take the 1-hour drive from her city to the coast. We end up at this free campsite at the top of this hill. Huge foothills of the coastal mountains, about a 25-minute drive from the top of the campsite to the bottom where the main road was, and we were the only campers there. We relaxed for the rest of the day, made food, etc. A truck full of men drive up the hill and talk with my mom. I don't know what about, wasn't suspicious at the time, and they leave us. Fast forward to the middle of the night, I wake up to my mom sitting straight up in the tent. I wake easily, so I heard her gasp, and it woke me. As soon as she saw that I was awake, she put her hand over my mouth because I was starting to ask what was wrong. It was dead silent, and all of a sudden you hear footsteps right beside the tent. The little flap that covers the zipper was even moving. Ooh. Thankfully, my mom has quick wits and said very loudly, "Kenny, grab the gun." Smart. Even though, of course, there was no man here, but Kenny is my dad, although that doesn't matter, and mind you, he wasn't there. Just us girls, like I said previously. They left, no harm was done. Thank the Lord for my mama. Smart and terrifying, so... Men suck. Okay. Wow, that's really scary. Okay, so this one is about to be about a Ouija board. I don't fuck with those. In high school, my friends and I were messing around with the Ouija board one night. Mistake number 1. That's not in here, that's just my opinion. We had done it before and nothing remarkable had ever happened. We usually did it to try to scare each other or our girlfriends. We all thought it was a joke. That night, there was no one else home except the 7 of us, and we were all together around the board. One of the girls there wanted to try it. She had never done it before. This time was different. The board misspelled some of the words the same way every time. It gave the answers that seemed really historically accurate for our town, things we neither knew about or cared about. Long story short, the spirit claimed it was a 10-year-old boy who had died on the property in the 1800s and was buried there too in an unmarked grave. My friend's house was on a farm in the edge of town. We were all a little freaked out because the board had never been so detailed and consistent. However, we were still skeptical and we were all assuming one of us was trying to scare the rest. Finally, my friend asked if the spirit could do something to prove that he was there with us. It went to yes and then spelled out Knock. Then the planchette stopped moving. I think that's how you say it. We just all stared at it silently. Then there was a rap on the window next to us. The lights were on outside and there was absolutely no one there. We never touched that effing board again. Oh my god. First of all, again, yes, this is why you don't mess with a Ouija board. Like, no. I know that was just a water bottle, like, popping in my trash can that's right here, but... No. Growing up, my bedroom was the only one that faced the front of the house/street. When I was about 8 or 9, I woke up to my dad calmly but firmly telling me to get up, go into the bathroom, and shut the door. I was annoyed because I was half asleep, but I listened. Apparently, I was more tired than I realized because I fell asleep on the bathroom floor. The next morning, I asked my mom what happened. She seemed oblivious and confused. I looked at my dad like she was crazy, and I asked him why he had woken me up. He denied doing it. I was becoming frustrated to the point of tears, but I ultimately let it go. Fast forward to college, I was home one break, and I decided to ask again. I thought of that night on and off for years, but it still bothered me. This time my dad goes, "Ha! I was wondering if you even remember that. Turns out that a lot of houses on our block had been vandalized and robbed all those years ago. Someone had broken into the garage and was inside the house. My room was partially over the garage. My dad had heard it happen and quietly got me to safety. Police were called and the guy ran. He was never caught. However, my parents didn't want a terrified kid on their hands. So for years they pretended like nothing had ever happened, and it wasn't supernatural, but it was unsettling for sure." Oh my god, I thought this was gonna go like somebody broke into her house and like she thought it was her dad telling her to go that, and that's what I thought was gonna happen. Wow. Okay, well, first of all, my house was robbed when I was a kid and I wasn't home. Thank god nobody was home, but it was still scary. And I remember I was in 4th grade, and I remember I told somebody, like, our house got robbed, and she was like, no, you're just making that up. And I'm like, who would make that up? Like, I mean, I guess somebody would make that up, but, like, I didn't. Like, what the That's scary. So this happened not to this person, but to this person's sister. So that's who, when they're referring to her, they're talking about their sister. Her husband and her, people don't know how to write her husband and her. Her husband and her had just had their first child a few months prior. My brother-in-law was working the graveyard shift at his job as my sister stayed home taking care of my nephew. Around 2 a.m., she heard loud knocking on her back door. She went to check it out and saw a lady banging on the door asking my sister to let her in. The lady told my sister that her husband had just beat her down the street and was looking for her. My sister was hesitant to let her in since she had a newborn in the house and didn't want to interfere. She told the lady the best she could do for her was call the police. The lady told my sister not to call the police and to let her in. This is where my sister got suspicious. She went to get her phone to call 911. When she went to the back door, the lady was gone. The police had arrived a few minutes later, and they told my sister that the same situation had happened a few streets down. Apparently, the couple would do this act to get into people's homes. I'm sure this is very common, but having it almost happen to my sister and my nephew just creeps me out. Some real Clockwork Orange shit. I don't know what that means. Somebody tell me in the comments, what does that mean? Is that a movie? See, that's the thing. People are so fucked up that they will do stuff. Like, because what if somebody, you know, I live on a military base, so the harsh reality is that somebody on this base is being beat by their husband. Like, that's a harsh reality. And it makes me sad, but I know real, true life stories, like, you know, so people will take advantage of like fucked up situations like this. And so if something really does happen, it's like a cry wolf situation. Like, something really does happen, people are already too scared that you're faking it to like help you. And, you know, so if you're in that situation, you're running around trying to get somebody to help you, you're gonna be like so frustrated because everybody thinks that you're trying to fuck with them. And it's so sad. Just be good, people. Just be good. Like, be good. Do better. When I was in high school, I had a lot of these experiences. At the house my dad lived in at the time, it was really old, built in the early 1800s. There were plenty of times I'd be sitting in the living room and distinctly hear the cabinets opening and closing in the kitchen. It was just me and my dad that lived in the house, and you could clearly see when his bedroom door was shut and he was asleep, but still hear it. Normally, my dad worked 7 to 3, but occasionally worked a PM or overnight shift. One night, he was working until 11. I was 17 at the time. Around 8 or so, I'm sitting in my room playing Borderlands and think I hear footsteps coming from the living room, which was adjacent to my bedroom, and assume my dad's home early. Go back to playing Borderlands. I keep hearing the steps, so I pause the game and listen, and the footsteps are just slowly pacing back and forth between the living room and the kitchen in a steady rhythm. I laid in bed scared shitless and actually counted the steps. Every time it took 15 paces to the living room, 15 paces to the kitchen. Needless to say, I did not fucking sleep that night. I had other situations at my mom's house about 2 years prior to this. Out of nowhere, my alarm clock would go off at midnight every night. I assumed it was busted and got rid of it. Fast forward 2 years, my mom gets another brand new alarm clock for my room, also when I was 17. Suddenly, alarm goes off at midnight. I thought nothing of it, turned it off. Happened again the next night, and then my sister pointed out the old one I had that did it. So I checked to make sure no alarms were set, double checked at 11:56. Sure enough, 4 minutes later, my alarm goes off. Freaked out, I threw it out. The next night was my dad's night to have me. I had a buddy of mine over and my dad was working that night. He left for work around 2 a.m. and my friend had brought over an iPod dock to listen to music. I didn't have the clock set or anything. My friend knew nothing of the last couple nights, so I knew he wasn't just fucking with me. So about 2 minutes after my dad leaves, we hear an alarm clock coming from my room. I went in, and you know how if you just plug in a clock without setting it, the numbers just blink on and off? Well, it was doing that, and as soon as I picked it up, the clock set itself to 12 and just turned off by itself. So yeah, fuck paranormal shit. I'm not religious at all, but I'm 100% convinced that it happens. Wow. About 5 years ago, my mom started dating a guy she met on a dating site. That part is fine. I had recently started dating the woman who would later become my wife, and we had met online. I'll just refer to her as my wife for this story. Anyway, my wife and I never really liked the guy. We didn't think he was mean or anything like that, just a little creepy. He was quiet, he kept his eyes closed a lot, and occasionally said odd things like offering my wife a chocolate and then popping one in his mouth, closing his eyes, and moaning as if he let it melt in his mouth. What? Ew, that's disgusting. Like what? Oh my god, I was really just twitching. My eye was twitching. First of all, creep alert. One time my wife and I were visiting my mom, but she got called into work, so we waited at her house. Her boyfriend was over, and he spent the entire several hours just hanging out in her room with the door closed. Just before Christmas, my mom and this guy started having some difficulties. My wife and I were visiting her for the holidays, and she dropped all of her problems on us, and we listened carefully and told her our opinions and suggested that she would do better off without him. She already had her mind made up though, and decided to break up with him on Christmas Eve. We spent the night at my mom's and got up early on Christmas morning to visit my dad at his house. We didn't plan on spending the night at my dad's, but we got snowed in, which was actually a nice Christmas surprise. Oh, I hope we have a white Christmas this year. I would love that. Nothing would make me happier after this shitty fucking year. Oh, sorry. That was aggressive. The next day, we left as soon as we could to get through the snow, and my wife suggested that we stop by my mom's house on the way so that we could see if she was okay. My wife just had a really bad feeling about my mom's now ex-boyfriend. My mom's car was in the driveway, but that doesn't mean much because she lives close enough to work that she often walks, and it hadn't snowed in her town. She also never locks her door, which drives me crazy. So we let ourselves in, and that's when That's when we see blood oozing out of the refrigerator's water dispenser. It had filled up the spill container and was leaking onto the floor and had made a puddle. My wife screamed and I freaked out. I fully expected to see my mom's head in the freezer. I nervously opened the door, and a bag of frozen cherries had been opened, crammed into the freezer so that it fell through the ice dispenser and melted. That's where the story ends. What the fuck? What the fuck? Why does the story just end there? Why aren't we like, yeah, mom's okay, but this creepy thing happened? What? So I'm guessing the mother was not decapitated, but, oh god. Some of these stories are just weird. 4 years ago, I lived in a very large farmhouse that was converted into 2 apartments. The house was known as the Old Boys Home. It was used to house boys with behavioral issues, but was closed due to allegations of molestation. Ew. Anyway, I was living with my boyfriend and 3-year-old daughter at the time. My bedroom had a large fireplace that had been boarded up and painted over. I decided to push my bed against it one day while I was rearranging things. It was like a headboard. That night, around 1 a.m., I had heard a small... Okay. That night, I'd heard a small voice saying, Mom, Mom, Mommy. I had set... Oh my god, and there's a scary picture. Okay. I had sat up in bed, but didn't see anything, so I reached over my boyfriend trying to grab my daughter and put her in our bed. I kept feeling around and I was still hearing the voice, but I couldn't feel her. My boyfriend woke up and turned the lamp on beside me, asking me, what the hell are you doing? I explained that Amelia was trying to get in our bed and I was trying to reach for her. There was nobody there. My daughter was sound asleep in her room, and then the next night came around 1 a.m. Again, my dog had started to whimper at the door, so my boyfriend got up to take him outside. You know that feeling in bed when someone lays back down next to you? When the bed pushes in and there's a warmth on your back? I felt that. Oh, so I assumed my boyfriend had come back. I rolled over, my boyfriend wasn't in bed, and I felt the bed fucking release pressure. Whatever was laying next to me had gotten up in that second. I moved my bed the next day to the other side of the room, and I never had another incident in the 2 years I remained in that house. What? Ew. Ew. The fact that, like, these things happen to these people and they just stay. Like, they just, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, oh, I moved my bed. It's not gonna happen again. Like, what? What the fuck? I was sitting in my room at like 11:30, heard lots of shit downstairs, assumed it was my mom. Heard her walk up the stairs to my room, stopped. I called out to her, she didn't say anything, and walked downstairs. I went down about half an hour later to find a piece of paper with the words, "You're lucky I'm scared too," on it, and a whole bunch of shit was missing. Called my mom. She still hadn't arrived home from a dinner she was at with her friends. I called the cops and locked myself in my room, but I think they left when they realized I was still home. Probably most scared I've ever been while I was hiding in the bathroom. What? Hold on. I called the cops, but I think they left when they realized I was... Like, I don't get this. What I'm getting from this is that there was like a burglar or somebody that maybe wanted to harm her, and they just wrote on a piece of paper, "You're lucky I'm scared too," because they were too scared to like do anything. You know what I mean? This makes no sense. This is, first of all, that gave me the heebie-jeebies, but how fucking weird are people? I currently live in a haunted house. I heard voices, footsteps, lights have been turned on and off. One of the ghosts has a thing for silverware. I hear it clatter in the drawers all of the time, and sometimes a knife or two will end up in the wrong slot in the drawer. But the strangest, scariest experience I've had was the first night I spent in the house. I wasn't finished moving in. There were boxes everywhere. I didn't even have a mattress up there yet. I was bedding on an old futon mattress, watching a video on my phone, when I get the pins and needles feeling in my feet, falling asleep. Except it wasn't on my feet, it was on the top of my head, in the shape of my hand. I said good night and turned off my light and tried to go to sleep. When I woke up, my closet door was ajar, but other than that, everything was otherwise untouched. I guess whoever my unseen roommate is just wanted to check out who I was on the first night. You're living by yourself. You feel a hand shape on the top of your head, and your reaction is to say good night out loud and go the fuck to sleep. Why? Why is that your reaction? Like, I swear some people are fucking psychopaths. Like, they just don't care. Like, how... I would shit myself. I would shit myself, run out of the house. I would call somebody, you know? Like, what the hell? When I was around 16, my rapidly growing family finally moved from the house I had spent my entire life in. As you would suspect, I spent a lot of time fondly remembering things we used to do in the house as we were packing everything up. At some point, I decided to go in the downstairs closet with a flashlight and read, something I used to do when I was younger to get some peace and quiet. Now, This is one of those deep closets that goes under the stairs. It went back around 8 feet and then had a left turn into a very low, maybe 3-foot high space. This space was largely occupied by a mountain of blankets and stuffed animals. Of course, this was the most fluffy spot to sit in and read. About an hour in, I shift a little and get comfortable, and I hear a low, slow, warped, hoarse voice say, "You always make me happy." I flipped my shit, hit my head on the low ceiling, and practically broke the door down trying to get out. After hyperventilating and explaining to my family why there was no color left on my face, I went back to see what it was. It was my stuffed little bear, that little bear from when I was 3 or 4 years old that I happened to lean on just right and press his belly. When I pressed his stomach again, though, nothing. This poor bear hadn't played since I was a toddler. Used the last of its power, used its dying breath to tell me I made it happy. You make me happy too, little bear, when you're not making me piss myself. What? I like stories that are written more like that. Like, this is how I would write a story like this. Like, some of these people do not know how to write, but that one was pretty funny. So, like, not paranormal, but, like, would definitely scare the shit out of me if it happened. I saw a dead soldier's ghost in my barracks room before I deployed. It was the guy's room who died on my company's last deployment, and I was the first to be issued it. He told me to be safe. He had half of a head. I am agnostic, but this makes me question it. I've had 2 other experiences that I'm not quite convinced about, but my great-grandma used to visit me in my dreams after she died for like 15 years. That's the whole story. That's it. Wow, that's insane. Yeah, this one's longer. Woo! I do not like being attacked like that. I'm done. I'm fucking done. I was scrolling to see how long that fucking story was, and I just saw... Oh my god. Like, my insides are all fucked up now because I just saw something so scary. I'm trying to get it out of my head. Oh my god. Like, I'm attacked. This is like when I'm on Facebook late at night just fucking around and some scary ass thing. I don't like you people. You people who repost that shit are fucking mean. I don't want to see something scary when I'm laying in my bed at night in the fucking dark. Like, I didn't ask for that. It's consent, people, okay? It's not fucking funny. Like, I don't like that shit. I've literally screamed before because of this shit. Like, Charles like, oh my god, what's wrong? Like, this is what's wrong. I didn't consent to see this. I don't want that. Like, oh my god. You know, I have a sense of humor, but that shit just pissed me off. Like, how rude of you. And you know what? There have been people before, I'm like, you know what? I don't even like you that much. And so I just fucking unfriend them if they do that. You want to be friends with me on Facebook? Don't fucking do that shit to me. Don't do it. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that this was to your liking. I hope this was everything you dreamed it would be. And again, if you have any stories you'd like me to share, if you have anything you'd like me to read, if you want credit for your story that you send in, let me know all of these things, and I will read them, do them, say them, whatever for you, okay? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Wear your mask, register to vote. Have a good day.